Hey everybody, it's Justin, your guide into the other side. It is 7 days after the launch of the open beta, and currently Shattered gameplay is down, so we can't necessarily take a look at that. But that gives us a lot of time to plan, especially when it comes to hatching your Maras. I know a lot of you guys are actually doing that today, and you're taking a look, you're kind of taking scope of what you have, and you might be wondering, hey, how do I best farm? How do I best fight? How do I best take advantage of what I have in order to get those loot boxes, in order to best, farm the sediment fragments remaining, etc., etc. So, let's kind of break it down. Let's take a look right at our camp. So, if you take a look at my camp, you can kind of see the mist that I have at the top. You can also see the vessels. You can, so if you wanted to, if you want to assign them randomly, you can. If you want to speed up your hatching using mist, by all means do so. And you can also hatch your Mars from here as well. But if you're worried mainly about the sediment fragments, I would take a look at how quickly the biogenic swamp fragments are depleting. It is 7 days in, and we are about, I would say, 17% depleted down to 83%. So it's actually going quite quickly. And then we also have chemical goo at 96%, and then the rest are kind of still at the top at over 97% each. So if we take a look, we can kind of see our deeds here. I only have an epic hunter, an epic farmer, as well as an epic hunter. You can kind of see everything from your farming rate as well as your DPS for your hunting, and you can kind of see if you take a look here, it's 9 out of 24 hours. Yesterday I had a video about hatching the Mars, so I have 9. I guess I have 9 Rainbow Atmos now, so that's kind of cool. That's actually working, so that's awesome. I also have my hunter here. It's only got 60 DPS, so you may be hatching your Mars. You might be wondering, I can see all my DPS, I can see all my stats for all this stuff, but I don't necessarily know how that affects, how long it will take for me to defeat a Shattered Goliath boss, right? And why would you really care about that? You might be asking. That's kind of what determines your, I guess, the loot, the rarity of the loot, that the loot box that kind of drops out at the very end when you defeat it. I wish I could show you, but unfortunately the hunt game mode is actually down right now. So if I click on it, it's going to tell you to touch grass. So that's kind of annoying. But we'll get there when we get there. I'll explain it when we get there. But essentially, if you're just like me, if you don't necessarily have everything planned out, by all means, there's a lot of time to do so. Season 1 is kind of a relaxed season. Maybe, but I by all means, I have 4 slots left to fill across both my other deeds, across the worker slots, and then I also have like 6 open enchanter slots. So I might be looking at this and I'm like, okay, where do I necessarily pick up what's most important to, do the hunting or the farming? And that's a really good question that I may not necessarily have the answer to, but I do have a really good tool that can help you, plan out. And I would say this is from OtherGuild. It's lotm.otherguild.xyz. By all means, feel free to take a look. But basically, what this does is you can plug in what you have as well as what you're probably going to plan to pick up or whatever, and you can kind of see what you can kind of expect to produce with regards to your sediment fragments or your DPS, as well as the time it takes to slay a Shattered, right? So let's keep it really simple and just take a look at the tier 2 mycelium land with infinite expanse tier 2 sediment, right? With my hunter on it, right? So you can pick from a drop down here on the sediment on the tool. You can go ahead and just click, I currently have infinite expanse, and then you can also determine your sediment tier, so it's 2, and then you can also adjust your environment tier, and your environment tier is important because that changes the Shattered HP calculator here, because obviously the higher your environment tier, the stronger your boss that you're fighting is going to be, because you just have a bigger team, so naturally that's the case of scaling. But anyways, you're going to want to, after you've picked all those things, you're going to want to add, you're going to be able to theory craft and add farmers or hunters, right? So currently I have a hunter on here, so I'm gonna go ahead, click add hunter, and then you'll be able to select from a drop down. I know my head is in the way. I'll actually scroll down so you can actually see. But I'm gonna go ahead and click hunter epic. So this is going to add an epic hunter to this particular deed. And as my deed currently stands, this tool will show me how long it will take for me to kill a Shattered boss, or at least the first one. I know the sequential bosses that actually respawn are actually much stronger, or they'll get stronger in terms of HP. So you'll want to keep that in mind. So right off the bat, we can see, hey, it takes 24 days for me to defeat a Shattered Goliath, right? So why do I want to care about that, right? So what I've seen thus far, it seems like there's certain time. So if you defeat a boss in a certain time frame, you can get the highest chest, which is the master chest, and I guess it has the best loot, especially when it comes out. But again, I'm gonna have to revisit that when we are able to take a look at the hunting gameplay. So I might be wondering, hey, I kind of want to get it. I kind of want to, take a shot at that loot. I do want to, probably get the spaceship parts or get the battle ally parts, etc., whatever we saw. So, hey, what if I decide to add another hunter, right? So I can't necessarily add a hunter from the camp, but I can add it from the tool. So, that might decrease the time it takes for me to kill Shattered, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say, add another hunter, right? Okay, that reduces it from 24 days to 12. Okay, that's double my DPS. Obviously, we'll have the time in order to kill a Shattered Goliath boss. But, that might not be enough because I know that it was like 10 days, but I know that might not be right. So you're gonna want to verify that when we get into the game. So I got some enchanter slots. Why don't I mean, I've already filled up 2 slots for the hunters, so I guess I'll add an enchanter, because that's where I can shoot, or that's where I can, I guess, add it in. And it's like, oh, it takes it from 12 days to 11 days. That's not too big. That's not too big a difference, especially considering how expensive the enchanters are. So I guess it doesn't really matter. But let's go ahead and just add another enchanter because why not? So if I decide to max this out, let's just say the epic rarity, obviously what you decide to pick up, what you decide to hatch, it's going to vary, and obviously the higher the rarity, the more premium you're going to be paying on other marketplaces. So you're going to have to fiddle with the tools and figure out what's the best. And believe me, this can get really crazy and really time consuming, and you'll kind of go crazy, but rest assured, it's I don't necessarily know what to say here. But basically you can kind of see everything about your deed from your damage. So, if you add 3 epic enchanters, it'll buff your DPS by 39%. And then you can also adjust your DPS here as well. So you can kind of see, hey, it's 166 DPS. It'll take 9 days. So by all means, you'll be able to hit that particular metric if you want to. So, if we jump over to the farming aspect of the deed, right? So, I guess you can also adjust it. I'm not going to do this. This is going to get really crazy quite quickly. So you can also decide to, kind of theory craft with hunters. So you could just go ahead and click the X to remove all of your stuff. What happens if you add a farmer, right? Click legendary farmer. It's gonna change it to 10 days after 24 hours. It'll show you your rate. And then let's say if you add an enchanter, that's probably going to affect the time. It won't necessarily affect the rate, but it'll affect the denominator, and math's going to get kind of crazy. But anyways, you can basically theory craft however you want. It's going to get wild. It's going to get crazy. There's a lot of stuff to go over, and it can probably go into a really deep rabbit hole and, figuring out what best to optimize. So personally, I'm kind of glad I stuck to 2 deeds because I know a lot of people with, a little bit more might. There's a lot of time you're probably going to it's gonna get crazy. I can assure you. So, anyways, do let me know what you decide to do with regards to splitting your hunters, whether you want to, kind of specialize them, and let me know what you decide to hatch or whatever comes out, whether that's common up to a legendary, and let me know because I'm always curious to figure out what's going on. But I feel like I'm reaching time, so definitely like and subscribe and hit that like button to definitely help me grow my channel, and it always helps that content. But you can always find me on Twitter and Discord. I'm gonna sign off. I'm getting a little bit fried, so we'll see you in the next one. Peace.